In this video, we'll be going over the different components of the new Flex Pro theme update that was pushed to all Snow client sites at the beginning of the summer of 2021. Flex Pro is the biggest theme update that has been made to the Flex theme really since its inception, and there are 4 primary components that come with it that I'm going to provide a brief overview of in this video today. I have my demo site up right now just so we can see these components in action and see what they look like if you opt to use these new Flex Pro tools that are now built into your site if you want to take advantage of them. The first new component of Flex Pro is a new header and footer designer. So if you think about it, in the past on your website, you really had only 2 options when it came to your website's header. You could opt to have a header graphic, which you would have had to create on an external platform, something like InDesign or Photoshop maybe, and then you would have had to upload it to the header space on your website. You did have a couple of other options when it came to your header, in relation to where your search bar or social media icons and navigation menus showed up. But now you have complete control over the different spaces in your header area. As you can see, I have a couple of examples here on my demo site. You can now incorporate buttons. You can incorporate some different elements such as this search icon or this marquee up at the top that we're seeing here. And you have a lot more flexibility in terms of the size and positioning of things in your header as opposed to what you did before. The same is also true for the footer on your website. So if we go down to my footer, in the past you really had very few options when it came to your footer. It would just show the name of your website and your tagline as text. That was usually flushed to the left of your footer area. And then you could choose to display a menu, social media icons, and a search bar. But again, those placement options were pretty limited. So now, as you can see, just like the header on your website, your footer is completely customizable. You can break up the space. You can incorporate different elements and new elements that we've added. So as you can see here, I've added a graphic. So this is an image to my footer. Here's another new element that you can add as part of Flex Pro. We have different types of menus. So here's an example of a vertical menu. And then again, I've got that search icon and my social media icons, but they are taking up different spaces. It's a much different layout than we had before. So that's the first main component of Flex Pro, is this new flexibility with a header and footer designer. The second component of Flex Pro kind of builds off of the header and the footer, and that is now, instead of in the past, you had 6 overall options in terms of the widget area configuration on your website. So now you have complete control over the positioning, the size, and the layout of the homepage areas on your website. So if we take a look at my homepage for a second, you can see across the top here, I have basically split it up into 3 different spaces of varying widths. I have a full width area right beneath that. Here, as I continue scrolling down, I divided my homepage basically into 2 halves. So I have one story on the left here, and then I actually have 2 widgets stacked on top of each other here on the right. I have another full width area beneath that. And then again, towards the bottom, I split my page into 2 halves again, and I'm displaying some different social media related content. So you can now control where different widget areas on your homepage appear, how wide and how tall they are. You're no longer restricted to those 6 configurations that we gave you as an option before. So you can come up with some pretty cool layouts on your homepage. All right, so on to the third major component of our new Flex Pro update is that just like you can create custom widget areas and layouts for your homepage. The same is also now true for your category pages or static pages that you have on your website. So let's go to an example I have here on my site. I'm going to go to this custom page that I created. So this feature in the past, maybe you can remember, we used to give you the option of creating widget-based category pages. So this feature, this custom pages feature, has now basically replaced that and basically expanded on it as well, because not only is this available on pages that display categories of content, but it is also available on static pages as well. So think about maybe your About Us page, your Contact Us page. You can create customized layouts for those using these tools too. So here's just another example within this custom page. Again, I've created some custom widget areas. I have a full width area up at the top displaying these two widgets. Here I have split my page again into two halves. I have this more vertically oriented widget on the left and then another stories widget on the right. So it just shows you how those customization tools that we just saw on the homepage now carry over to your category pages and static pages. The final main new component of the FlexPro theme update is probably one of the most exciting, and it is a feature that we've been getting requests for quite a long time. And this new feature, it's not visible on the front end of the site, but if I go to the design options page of my website, so I'm just going to Snow Dashboard, Design Options, you now have the ability to create drafts of the design of your website. So in the past, let's say maybe you wanted to do a complete website makeover where you were going to make really drastic design changes. You basically had two options. So you could either make those changes live, but they would impact the front end view of your website. So if someone happened to be on your site during the time period that you were doing that design work in the back end, they would see those changes taking place in real time, and oftentimes it can look a little bit messy in the interim before you've finished that design work. The other option that you might have used or had in the past is to completely put your site into maintenance mode. That basically shuts it down for anyone who doesn't have a login and is not an actual user on the site. And that's nice. That feature was nice because people weren't seeing the in-between stages of that design work when maybe your website wasn't as pretty as it usually is. But the unfortunate thing about that is that it also cuts off access to your content for visitors on your site. So this new design drafts option is kind of a great blend of those two options you had before, because you can now make design changes on your website without it interfering with the live front end version of the site. So you can do all of that design work in the back end, and people can still access the content on your website should they visit your website during that design period. This new design drafts feature shows up when you're on the design options page. It is the fourth tab down. You'll see here it allows you to create drafts which can be checked in and checked out by different members of your staff, similar to a library book system. So different people can access the drafts from different locations if you're not all in a classroom together these days. And then when you are done with your draft, there's a new feature here where you can just push it live, and immediately all of those changes are implemented on the front end of your website. So it's not a step-by-step process like you were doing before where each thing appeared in real time. Now you can save a pretty significant design makeover and then push it all live at once. So those are the four main components of FlexPro. Again, just to recap, we have the header and footer designer as number 1. We have the widget area designer as number 2. We have that custom page layouts feature as number 3. And we have the design drafts feature as number 4. We do have another series of videos diving deeper into each of those features on our help site, so make sure to check those out. but this gives you an idea of the tools that you might want to use and experience as you begin to dip your toe into FlexPro on your own website. Thanks for watching.